Welcome to the Greenhouse launch of In Your Hands. I'm going to start with some COVID responses from some of the contributors in these interesting times. No toilet paper, but love in abundance. Let's keep washing our hands, yeah? We all need a sonic screwdriver. I'm stuck in my house. Send chocolate. This is the year you will change the vacuum cleaner bag.
Cancelled events, micro sales, no reviews, hashtag sad face, lost interaction, lost exposure, could be worse, residency cut short, book launch unlikely. Love this song.
That was a song, Interesting Times, just released by the amazing Brisbane band, The Stress of Leisure. The music industry's been really hit as well. And that features the poet Pascal Burton as well.
We would like to welcome everyone tonight. Thank you so much for giving up your... Where are we? What day are we?
Thursday night.
Thursday night. It's Thursday night. We made it. Thanks for giving up your Thursday night and tuning in. Hopefully you've got the internet and you're here. We'd like to start by acknowledging that we are gathered on Dharawal land, stolen, unceded land. We're here on the Illawarra at the southern tip, down towards the beautiful area Port Kembla.
Or PK as us locals. Where the Ruby Princess was just parked and just left. That's what it'll be now known for. But it's amazing Dharawal country down here.
Yeah. And we want to acknowledge any First Nations people that are tuned in. And of course acknowledge any emerging and upcoming Indigenous people that are also watching. Really, really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you.
Yeah, we're gathered here right now in if like us, you're in New South Wales, you can now gather in groups of two plus relatives, which is pretty much a standard poetry book launch. So I feel it's appropriate. Thank you for coming along to the digital launch of this e-anthology, In Your Hands. In Your Hands collects 80 poets together whose recent, current or forthcoming releases have been affected and related events have been cancelled linked to those titles. We'll tell you a little bit more about the anthology as we go through. We just want to do a couple of thank yous straight up. This whole idea came from, and big round of applause here, I'm over here for Jo Featherstone. Germinated from Jo Featherstone, a practicing poet herself, well known in Sydney poetry, founder of Red Room Poetry and a board member. Thank you, Jo, for putting this idea. And we also really have to thank
Tamron Bennett, who is our incredible artistic director of Red Room Poetry, Dr. Tamron Bennett. Tamron, hope you appreciate the greenhouse that we curated for you. Yeah, we only stole one of these plants, so...
and thanks to the whole team, the whole Red Room team's been working really hard on this. Thanks to everybody who sent in poems for consideration. In the end, 80 was selected. There are definitely more poets than that have books out that have been directly affected. So this is a starting point to springboard off into probably more like 120 to 160 titles come out roughly of Australian poetry each year. So this is a starting point. We'll tell you more about that as we go. We also really want to thank Billy Blue Creative, who we've been pushing this through at a very intense deadline, proofing, getting it together as a sort of sampler to help get the word out about books to poets, but beyond poets. Please share this widely. And Billy Blue Creative did the design on this, and the most crazy design timeline. So thank you, Billy Blue.
Hey, I think we should probably say who are you? Who are you?
Well, you can introduce yourself first.
Who are you?
Yeah.
So, my name's Anne-Marie Tafew, but a lot of people call me Annie. I'm one of the senior project managers at Red Room Poetry. I'm fortunate enough to be managing some incredible projects at Red Room. There's quite a few on the go at the moment that make me skip to work. Actually, I'm in a very privileged position to be working in the arts. So an employed position in the arts at the moment is rare. And I'm very, very grateful, very lucky to be a part of the team. It's an incredible team, and Red Room very much is anchored in team effort, which is another thing that I love about the work.
We also want to do a big thank you to 107 Projects.
Oh, yeah.
Joynton Avenue, where we're based, has also been really affected by this and has reduced the rent of all its co-optive
It's very cool.
tenants that live there. We're going to be doing some
Live
free...
there?
Well, we live there, not right now. And in Zetland. So we're going to be...
Zetland's an actual suburb.
Yes,
it
is.
sounds like...
It is a suburb. And we're going to be doing some workshops and things for them, as everyone is right now in the arts. But it might be good to... I'm also going to be doing some giveaways. I'm just going to quickly flash up some of the things we will be giving away, amongst other things. Don't worry about my book so much. We'll be doing giveaways as we go through this. We've got a bunch of books here. We'll show you later and tell you how to.
Popper.
We might give away this Popper. But let's
Let's
get into our first poet.
Oh, the first poet's pretty incredible, and I'm guessing many of you have already ordered this title. It's pre-order. It's available for pre-order now. This is actually my recent birthday present, so I'm pretty keen to dive into it. Throat is by an incredible poet and friend of both of ours, Ellen Van Neerven. Ellen is Ellen is there.
I'm on Yagara Turrbal land. I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I'm going to read a poem to you from my new book called Throat. This is a short poem called Horror Plural. Horror plural. Unconscious knowledge, anti-colonial doubt, instinctual complicity, loss of self-language, dark emotional labour, faceless respect, rural-urban ignorance, some systematic version of ourselves, radical mistrust, gender terror, institutional voice, acceptable bias, rigid unknown. Thank you.
How great.
How fantastic was that? That definitely deserves a double applause from myself and from...
Whoopee!
So get your clickers on. I know some people don't like clicking, but come on, click, clap. Get your moves on, buy some poetry, support Australian poetry right now.
So Throat's available through University of Queensland Press, and if you click on the link in the in your hands PDF, you'll be able to go direct to the purchasing site of UQP and order your copy of Throat by Ellen Van Neerven. Thank you so much, Ellen, for
existing.
Yeah.
And being the great writer. That'll be one of the collections of the year. I think most people agree with that. Yeah.
Big call.
Early call.
Love it. Next up we have Michael Farrell. Michael Farrell I last saw I think in 2016 I saw him live he came and launched the QPF Queensland Poetry Festival program back when we were
2017.
2017.
He's an incredibly productive poet, and he's reading from his new book.
Hi, I'm Michael Farrell. I'm reading on Wurundjeri land. This is my poem Apple Tree from my new book called Family Trees. It is a kind of wave to John Shaw Nielsen's The Orange Tree. It has a couple of Bruno Mars allusions. Apple tree. It has no idea what beauty is till its first blossom time, and each reminder's only a faint slide. This is the voice of the apple tree. It sorrows as it loses its leaves. It triumphs when laden with red or green fruit. An apple tree is no brute, but a complex of echo and self-regard. Oh, it does not understand the agony of seasons. It lives. Its voice has no sound, yet falls pinky white. I want to fall like apple blossom in the hair of the wrong guy. Make a place for his footsteps. Go on, bruise yourselves. Children, I will say. Spring looks like a bridal time, but an apple tree has no need of betrothal. Call the fire brigade, call the ski lift. It's just the weather of the apple, whose leaves make little impress among the detritus of autumn. Sweep a broom for appearance's sake. Thanks.
Let's give it up for the poets so far. We hope you have poppers at home. You know, what's a launch without poppers and glasses of wine? Here's a toast to all the poets. I love that you kind of shot that off screen. Poppers are kind of weird when you finish them. They're sort of
They've got a. They
weird
smell
object.
like
It's nice.
something.
We'll just hang some over the camera there.
Cookie
That's
Dog is.
that's nice.
Oh, sorry, Cookie. Our little Cookie's having a.
We have a rescue dog here.
She's all right.
Live streaming if you've just joined us.
That's
the
a popper. I know that
online
doesn't make
launch
sense.
of In Your Hands through Red Room Poetry, a new digital anthology supporting poets affected adversely by what's going on now, particularly with live events. I mean, it's such a part of our ecology to read, to gather, to not be able to do that as poets and community. And particularly, I think, launches if it's a debut collection as well. And this next poet, Toyon,
Yes.
really love this book. Toyon gives a lot to arts, right to the big issue critic. First poetry collection. Let's hear her read.
Hello everybody, my name is Tuyan and I'll be reading a poem from my poetry collection called Turbulence, which looks like this. The poem itself is called Rom-Coms Ruin It for Everyone. In shopping aisles, banana is innuendo. In pavement stumbles, Mr. Floppy Fringe comes a-dashing, while little Miss Goodtimes sachets behind tweed and owlish specs. Let's wait. Boy meets girl, histrionic swells, riverbed of tears, lines crisscrossed, doubled-upped, backed away, missteps. An age later, Venn diagram overlap, like and like meet halfway, a head knock, heart pound, body roll, and after, a bench sit, a skyline view, a shopping trolley, where innuendo is a peach. Thank you, and that was Rom-Coms Ruin It for Everyone, a poem from my poetry collection called Turbulence.
Woohoo! Fantastic.
Cheers,
Toyon.
Toyon.
So you know, like a new book, it's just one of those things. Like when you get to, it's like the physical object of it. Like, yeah.
So that's
like
through
the-
UWAP?
UWAP. Lots of presses represented across in Your Hands, and there's buying links embedded to every poem when you read through, and the whole thing is to direct you towards share widely, but also buy another poet and encourage others to buy poetry right now.
Mark Tredenick is up next. He's a Sydney-based poet, and his poem comes from his next book, which is out with PSP in July. So keep your eyes peeled in July. And the book is called Walking Underwater. Thanks so much, Mark.
This is my poem, 4 Rooms, from A Gathered Distance. My latest book out this past February from Birdfish. and forgive me if there is the odd other noise from some of the 4 rooms mentioned in the poem. The poem is for Jody Williams. Sorrow's a room I keep for my children. I sweep it clear of leaves. Weather litters it, and I sweep it clear again. I burn a lamp there, for the room is dark, and I want it bright for them. My house has other rooms. My life is larger than the days and voices missing from it. A father's heart is a biome, his mind a moiety. All this is wealth, I say, and one day I'll be rich enough to believe it. One's life's a gift it's right to earn by giving back. Waiting alone won't buy you the credit you need. I wake in Sichang, between a mountain and a lake. All the years the mountains carry here, the time they took to dawn and forest their flanks, and start to forget themselves again, all these well at Lang Shan's feet. In waters that want to be a day, Chong Hai. Swallows wander ley lines in the early mist. Spring, they tell you, winter's here all year, and fir trees walk a prayer upon the shores. Peacocks woke us yesterday, today it's grief. Convinced that all the birds have squandered all the song, sure this time that daylight's got the colours wrong. Where was it, dear, you learned in all the years before you knew my skin, bringing up my bones? Old poets say that wine is good for grief. I find weeping best. What the soul can no more name than bear, the body must find a song for. And so mine does, until what's broken in the world is almost pieced together in my bed. I open a window and climb through. The morning is cool and steeped in the scent of pines. The mountain is tall with autumn and old with spring. The birds who've kept their peace these 3 still days become a chorus now, a kindergarten choir reciting all the joy and woe this land has known. And we are here to join a while. Turns. Take turns in lazy cadence on the lake. Grebes dive shallow waters low with drought and scavenge seagrass meadows, which grow like weeds where all one's sorrows sleep. Be well.
Beautiful, everyone. Making noise in your, hopefully you're in your pajama pants. You have a wine or a Milo with you. Welcome back to the online launch of the digital anthology In Your Hands through Red Room. Go to the Red Room website and go down through projects to In Your Hands, and you'll see you can download the PDF, read 80 poems by poets affected. This is our first giveaway tonight. Don't really know much about this book. And
what a giveaway it is.
Solid Air,
is it
Australian
any good?
and New Zealand spoken word edited and by the 2 of us. This is one of our own copies. One thing people don't really talk enough about in poetry is that we often buy our own stock to do events outside of traditional festivals and our own bookseller, and a lot of us have bought stock for events that haven't gone ahead. So we're going to give a copy away tonight. We're going to give a copy away of a few things. All you have to do is write a 7-word poetic response to COVID, and particularly how it's impacted on you, I don't know, as a poet, not as a poet, post-poet, whatever. A 7-word response to COVID, as all the poets have done in Your Hands. And we're going to select the best 4 or 5 for some prizes. This is one of them, Solid Air, bit of book face there. And right now, Anne-Marie's going to read. We had a number of Solid Air events ourselves cancelled, which...
I'd worked pretty hard on putting together a fantastic launch, actually the premiere launch of Solid Air. It does actually span both Australia and New Zealand, Aotearoa. And many thanks to the National Library in Wellington and all the staff there that were as disappointed as I was that the event didn't go ahead. Incredible riders, would have been part of that lineup. Anahira Gildea, Tay Tibble, Laura Jean Mackay, Jordan Hamill, Ben Brown, Takahu Ralston, just to name a few. This is a poem called Moko, and it's by Ben Brown, who is magnificent. Moko. Take a look at my face. Got the right shape for the moko. Got the haughty jut to the jaw. Got an appropriate nose for the koro, bro. I got Borstal stars and a crooked cross, but I never been inside, eh? They just bullshit schoolboy tats. Idiot stickers. Cost me nothing. But an inky needle and some discomfort. Yeah, but I wear my moko on the inside, bro. Old school chiseling in pigment and blood, cut in albatross bone. This line is my father's line. This line is my mother's line. Here's a mountain, a river, a suburb. Here is the chanting karakia of a young man bleeding beneath the blade. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. Here is a road in the footsteps of a warrior. Here is a path in the broken feet of a slave.
Oh, I think that
Thank you,
deserves
Ben.
Ben Brown some massive. Look, let's just get the 80s. Like, we don't even know what decade we're in during a pandemic time sort of changes. So that's the way it goes. But please, even more so, check out Ben Brown's work. Check out all these poets. They're always pathways to other poets.
Is anyone else at home wearing a beret? Is my question.
We're like
Surely.
salt and pepper shakers.
Surely.
We're like the salt and pepper of poetry
I'm
here at the moment.
the pepper.
It wasn't
yes,
coordinated
yes.
that way. So yeah, if you want to win a prize, that's the first one. In the comments, a 7-word, that's the constraint. Poets love constraints. 7-word response to COVID. And the top 5 our team will pick and be
We'll post
mailing
them
out
out.
some books from that are in some way connected to the anthology.
This book, this poet. So next up is Charmaine Paper Talk Green. Charmaine comes from the Yumanji peoples of Western Australia. She's a prolific writer. This is her most current book out with Cordite Poetry. Highly recommend clicking on that link and
Great
purchasing
book.
this copy. Over to you, Charmaine.
Hi everyone, Charmaine Paper Talk Green here, talking to you from Yumanji country in Geraldton. I'd like to firstly acknowledge the traditional custodians of our country on Yumanji land in Geraldton, and today I'm going to do a reading called Walgajamana All Time from my latest poetry book, Ngana Jungu Yagu by Cordite Books. We write about our existence pre-invasion, and that has made us visible. We write about our existence during invasion, and that keeps us visible. Walgajamana, Walgajamana, Walgajamana. We write about the blood they spilt, and that honours ancestors' memories. We write about the land they stole, and that shows they are savage thieves. Walgajamana, Walgajamana, Walgajamana. We write about our connection to country, and that challenges theirs. We write about our lived realities, and that shows them we survived. Walgajamana, Walgajamana, Walgajamana. We write about sky world knowledge and show them the first astronomers. We write about earth world knowledge and show them a sustainable culture. Walgajamana, Walgajamana, Walgajamana. We write about traditional food production and contest their agriculture. We write about traditional mud huts and debunk their walkabout romanticism. Walgajamana, Walgajamana, Walgajamana. We write about Aboriginal deaths in custody and show them we fight back. We write about deaths and police presence, and we are not blinded by lies. Walgajamana, Walgajamana, Walgajamana. We write about racism experiences and punctures in their ethnocentric balloons. We write about campaigns for Aboriginal rights. Pens, our weapons of choice. Walgajamana, Walgajamana, Walgajamana. We write about our deep Aboriginal love, and that shatters their assimilation into pieces. Barndi, thank you. This is Charmaine Paper Talk Green in Geraldton, Western Australia.
What an amazing poet. In your hands. In your hands.
Yes, Charmaine.
Buy that incredible book and get... Oh, I just took Annie out. But
Take me out.
oh, that's the wrong way. Everything's backwards.
Hi, guys.
In your hands. That's one of
Put
the
it in
80
your
poems
hands.
that you can get. Put this in your hands. Actually, just for balance, I should probably also just move that over there. So we
Hi.
yeah, it's good to sort of take. There we are. In your hands. Look at that. That's kind of like a strange. There it is. Sharing it. I'll put a hand on this side, and if we all put our hands together, we can hold this digital anthology into.
It's downloadable. It's free.
Yeah,
Share it.
80 free poems, so many of which are unreleased or current poems. The next poet we're going to hear from in the anthology is a poet who has been an editor of my work at UQP and done a lot for poetry at UQP and very much in Queensland. Long time between collections. That's the other thing at the moment. There's poets that haven't put collections out for a long, long time who are finally putting collections out again. So give it up for Felicity Plunkett. This is from A Kind of Sea.
Hi everyone, I'm coming to you from the lands of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. I respectfully acknowledge elders past, present and emerging. Thank you to Annie, David and Red Room Poetry for celebrating and supporting poets, always. It's lovely to be part of what must be the biggest collective launch event, geographically and imaginatively. And it's a joy for me to be reading my way through these books. See my makeshift gallery behind me. I'm going to be reading a poem called Strand from A Kind of Sea. Every poem has a secret addressee, every secret a shoreline. Mine loosens like a tooth. I wake to 3 knocks, 3 times no one there. Knocks echo through an empty house until I am empty of dreams. An owl at noon means death, your death eyeing me still from a tree one leafless moon. See yourself in a dream, you are soon to die. Seeing you without me in a dream, I knew you could survive. Tumble of wings into pain, a wrecked bird huddled on the ledge, looking in, your eyes closed against pain. Nothing to say as when words lose their letters in winter. Letters' spines dismantle in my silent hand. I hear your name in a dream of sea. Dream my secrets fall from my mouth, braced neat as pearls. Broken mirror, spilt salt, opened umbrella. Salt rain broke and I thought no harm could come to you. Never rock an empty chair. Your empty room, fulcrum of consolation and despair. A sailor with an earring cannot drown, drownless in the hold of your sea cradle, distant as shoreline.
Felicity Plunkett. Get her. Ooh, going back to Ellen. Look, it's going to be a bit loose when you have poets running technology. Fantastic reading by Felicity. And it's interesting seeing the bookshelves of poets, and hopefully these are some books you can put on your bookshelves along with Felicity's. Here are some of the books that aren't reading tonight, but have just been released or recent, which are in poems are in your hands. So these are some. Here's a bunch: Anna Jacobson, Alice Savona, Tricia Dearborn, Graham Miles. This book,
Yeah, Natalie.
which just won the John Bray Award. Inside Australia. Kelly Saunders is in there.
Kelly!
Astrid Lorange, great long poem by her in there. Gabrielle Everall. This has just been re-released. This is such an amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm using the word amazing a lot. It doesn't matter.
I
They're
wanna
all amazing.
read
All the
this.
poets are amazing.
I really
Caroline
wanna read
Reed,
this.
the debut collection, and there's also been a re-release of Natalie Harkin's
Oh.
Dirty Words with a new kind of poetic essay book in there as well. So much new poetry to choose from. Keep those COVID responses going. 7 words. You could win a copy of Solid Air, and you could also win a copy from UWAP of this next book.
Where is she? Jill. So, what was it? February? March. We managed to just get into, or Adelaide Writers Festival just managed to get in before all of COVID really hit. And we're very, very grateful and lucky to have, well, I met Jill for the first time. I think you've met.
Yeah, I think we'd met. Jill and I were supposed to read in Sydney, actually, at the amazing Garden Lounge in Newtown in May, but that Jill hasn't been able to launch this book at all yet.
So without further ado, it would be fantastic if we could please hear from the amazing Jill Jones.
Hello there, my name is Jill Jones. I'm a poet from Adelaide. First, I wish to acknowledge that I'm reading today on the land of the Kaurna people, the original custodians and songmakers of this place. I'm celebrating my latest book, A History of What I'll Become, published by UWAP. The poem I'll read now focuses on the alphabet as form and song, where the letters of the alphabet head up in alpha order, the last word of each of its 26 lines. The poem's called A Fantasia of Oddments, Wages and Zeros. In the midst of afternoon, an unexpected hubbub above, parrots midair chasing a falcon. Sun in my eyes, I brush light, the radiant shaking leaves loosed from their crib, my first time free of blame for my ill feeling, my dank self-pity as a citizen of pain. Sun's mocking me, its empire, while I cope with presence, motes, a fantasia of being, even as small as the life forms on my skin, greater than Earth's population. Do they feel guilty like their host? Or are they me, mostly empty, waiting for batteries, innards, sounding a sonorous plaint? I bless every idea, glance and jot in my creases. A starlight feels its way, seems ever so keen as I step forward slowly, shading my eyes from the luxury, the day's slough taste, plant oil, insect, joy of the meld, life, death, life, nectar, planets as gods above it all, the nuzzle of eternity terrors, while I'm heaving my ribs and oddments for night cusp, wine bloods less to blame, let it pour with the backyard gladness, the universe honey, the quick and freight of little big world, its evil doing, or pitiless rattle of my circulation, CO2 emissions, the West's bountiful sophistry, the wasteland of antibiotics, water features and trolls. Oh wait, honey eaters hustle and drop, and I'm so ugh, wondering when all the oil will be gone, leaving vitriol or a spangled release, an unguessed drug or a wager. As if this is my portion, I grab at the door. Nothing X-ray could determine. My mind's not a printer, it's a yammer of lyric, passionate as a forest, lost songs, the zeros. Thank you very much.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. In fact, I think that really does deserve. It really does deserve.
Mr. Wells.
Mr. Wells.
Good evening, Mr. Wells.
You know, it could be Murdoch clapping, but yeah, whatever you want to give. I think it's good to have different ways of celebrating poetry today. So, hey, you've got to have your own ways to make your way through these strange, uncertain,
every day
rubber band days. Isn't that a terrible analogy? It's funny how poets make bad analogies spontaneously in live settings. Unlike Jill Jones, whose work is incredibly precise. So all those are amazing poets, amazing collections. You can read a sample of their work, go through in your hands. And it might sound like a marketing spiel, but that's really the point. Pay some poets, which Red Room through Oranges and Sardines have done, and then drive people towards the collections to buy, support the presses, support the poets, support our sector in all the ways that if you can afford to. If you can't afford to. If you're a landlord, you should buy every book. Yeah. If you're a tenant, just get the free anthology. It's all cool. We totally get it.
We're talking about you're able to go to these we're just talking like the In Your Hands.
Yeah, there's an
book.
embedded link under
So
each
there's
title when you go to the PDF.
The hyperlink takes you directly to each website, so you can purchase
A direct buying link
direct.
for the title.
Next up is Joel Listix he's a legend. Not only is he an incredible artist, but he's also a very beautiful human being. He is able to cross over into many genres. I'd say that his heart probably lies in hip hop, but I'm also lucky enough to be working with him on another project at the moment called Shadow Catchers, which when you go to the Red Room website and you click on the projects tab, and you'll see a bunch of projects come down. You'll see the Shadow Catchers project come up as well. So that will be, keep your eyes peeled for that. That's coming up, hopefully, touch wood, in mid-May. And Joel Listix is part of that project. We're absolutely thrilled that he could be a part of this project as well. Joel Listix also happens to feature in
another artist that was going to feature some showcases. This is Nostromo. This is
Go Joel.
a short film that Joel made.
The streets are empty as shit, and we just ride them like ghosts. In the place where we live, we've got nowhere to go. Push bikes on the road, we take flight with the crows. The night sky above and tarmac below us. The city lights are majestic, off in the distance. Over the rooftops we float. Above the dreams of a suburban night, we snuck out while my parents slept to take a ride. And we ride our bikes to the bay, take a walk on the wharf, sit on the edge and light a ciggy like a torch. You turn and you talk to me, I'm looking away, but I'm listening to every single thing that you say. You say, the future's bright, man, tomorrow is ours, and there will come a day soon where we leave this town. The clouds, they start to gather and we get up and leave, and we're home before the dawn even touches the trees.
Give it up for Joel Listix. It's one thing. I keep going back to Ellen. I think Ellen's work is just so immediate and of the moment. It keeps just jumping into the screen. There's something subliminal. The book just arrived through the post. I've been ordering what I can of other poets, as I suppose we all have. And Throat was released early, like some collections were. But check out Joel Listix's work.
Joel.
Support hip hop as well. Support all types of poetry right now. It's a great time to lay down the narrow funnel of poetry, broaden it out, support it in all of its forms.
That's actually one of 3 clips
Yeah,
that you can
check them out. Yeah,
check out more of Joel Listix's work.
He's done a 3-part. They're beautiful short films. We're just going to read some more COVID responses anonymously from poets who are in the collection. Here's a few more. Each of these are 7 words each. Put a 7-word COVID response, poetic response. Take it somewhere interesting, somewhere new. We're going to send out some books to those that do. Quarantine and Chill, Cabin Fever and Kill, Crown, Venom, Armageddon, House Arrest, Spiritual Test. Apocalypse looks very pretty this morning. The
one.
White Rose fell sobbing, and Strychnine. Now more than ever, communism, solidarity, abolition. I particularly love that.
I'm down.
That one.
Borders closed, food rations, death seem afar. Are we 100 years ago? In isolation, trees always receive hugs. No more poems for dinner, my children. Elders say we will survive this too.
Actually, I think that last line might be from the last one is Curly Saunders, who runs the Poetry and First Languages program for Red Room, amongst many other things.
She's one of our team members.
One of our team members who gives a lot and does a lot. We're a small team that does a lot, like many in the arts. I feel very fortunate as a long-term freelancer, both of us to have like an actual part-time contract in these strange job keeper, job seeker, job sleeper days.
Hey, I've just noticed Angelique Mosley has commented her 7-word response: the fever breaks, the heart's silent levies.
Wow, I got Levy in there.
Well, Angelique.
Got Levy in there. Maybe post Led Zeppelin and Nothing Broke, but that's brilliant. Keep putting them in. Next up, we have another South Coast poet, Scottish South Coast poet, who's also going to be part of the Shadowcatchers program. It was going to do an amazing launch about the 19th of March, Better Read Than Dead. Should really say, please support and order books if you can, either through the independent bookshops like Avid Reader, Better Read Than Dead in Newtown, Garden Lounge, Hare and Hyenas, Readings, Planet Books in Perth. There's so many bookstores you can, or direct through the publishers. If you can, try and avoid the big multinational machine. It really,
the hoopla.
We need the smaller parts of the sector to be supported. If you can get a takeaway coffee, you can order a takeaway book. This next poet was going to launch her book, and at Better Read Than Dead, it got cancelled. Hasn't had a chance to launch it. This is Ali Whitelock.
Hi everybody, my name is Ali Whitelock, and before I start reading, I'd like to acknowledge the owners of the land on which I'm reading, the Darawal people of the Illawarra, and I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. The title of my new book is The Lactic Acid in the Calves of Your Despair, and I'm going to read a 2-minute excerpt from one of the poems, and that poem is The Dandruff in the Dry Scalp of Your Longing. Slip off the concrete boots of your dreams. Scrape what's left of your soul spread too thin between the bricks of your debt. Apply vitamin E cream to the burns from the noose around your neck. Let your dreams rise like gnocchi to the surface of your pan. Rescue them with a draining spoon, pile them into a bowl, pour on some oil. It will stop them congealing into the solid mass that nags in the night as your reflux nags when you forget to take your proton pump inhibitor. Stab your fork into the dream at the top of your pile, the one that goes, if I could pay off my mortgage, I'd... Insert your own dream here. It will make the poem more real. Now sit back, make yourself comfortable, take a deep breath in and focus on my pocket watch, swinging slowly from side to side. I am going to count from 1 to 10 now. When I get to 10, you will know exactly how it feels to have paid off your mortgage and insert your own dream here. 1, you are breathing deeper and deeper. 2, you are feeling sleepier and sleepier. Your eyelids are becoming heavier and heavier. 3, listen. What do you hear? The sparrows in the trees, the wind rustling through their branches. 4, or is that the sound of your internal metronome ticking away the neglected hours in the congealed gnocchi of your existence? 5, keep breathing. 6, your dream is a solitary tadpole now, swimming furiously upstream of your ovary of possibility. 7, you are going deeper still.
To the poets, may you toast each other with actual toast in your slippers or whatever you can get your hands on.
Vegemite on toast with heaps
the bottle
of butter.
shops, the bottle shops didn't close, which is good and bad for the poets. But here's to all the poets.
It's good for us.
In your hands and who aren't. It's not really relevant. It's not a best of. It's not capturing everything. It's just an overview of the possibilities of what is there that you could engage with. Oh, what a terrible sentence! That needs a structural edit on my sentence. Anyway, here's to the poets.
Engage with it. Anyway, it's on the website. Go to the Red Room Poetry website.
Work hours. Next up, we have now. excited about all these books, but particularly excited by this next poet whose debut collection has been in the making since probably about, I'm guessing about 98. Was and is the partner of Benjamin Frater, the amazing surrealist experimental poet from the South Coast Illawarra, went to Wollongong University. Her debut chapbook, Grief for Hire, I love that title, is coming out with Verity La. Good one, Verity La, for supporting Elise Blaney, who is a lived experience, mental health lived experience, voice, documents that space like no one else, but is a brilliant poet in her own right.
Isn't
and
she?
It's time her voice gets amplified, and I'm so excited. This comes out, I think next week off the top of my head. Go to Verity La to check it out. This is Elise Blaney. No, it's not. That's Elise.
Hi everyone, my name's Elise Blaney, and before I start the reading, I'd like to pay my respects to all elders, both past and present, and acknowledge the original owners of whose land I'm on, which is the Dharawal people of the Eora Nation here in the Sutherland Shire. I also have a very special guest joining us, both in painting and in spirit, the incredible Benjamin Frater, who tragically passed away in 2007. This poem is for him, and it's called What I Have Learnt from My Husband, from my new published chapbook, Grief for Hire, which is due to be released on the 3rd of May. And hopefully we will be having an online book launch for it too. So please check out the Verity La website for more details. Okay, so on with the poem. Come back to me, even in a dream, Euripides. I swallowed the dream of his eyebrow with the mercy of his fish lips. Kiss bombs, brain, touch, tango, soul, tango, swoon. He said poems and ladders lead to loins and hyenas. And I love that, love him for that. Love will begin and end and begin with swallowed eyebrows, merciful lips, kiss bombs. And no amount of clozapine will make the heart less of a gaping wet hole. He spoke of signs, sigils, and talked symbols. He moved music, and with it painted speech and a pink star fleshed out of the ocean. This was his effluvial way, the way of waves and lap of love, with hips hard against the shove. His mind leapt over the hobby horse and landed on the other side of reason. His soul boarded the tongue and birthed in my mouth. I buried the thorns of nostalgia. I learnt that my husband gave me more than a decade of electroshock. I learnt that it is hard to wake a dead woman. Thanks everyone. Hope to see you soon. Bye.
Woohoo, Elise. I love that picture of Benjamin too. We'll do some party.
This is for Elise.
This is for all the poets debut.
And all the other poets too.
Elise are the debut poets right now. It's Annie's amazing response. There's my response. Even Orson. Everyone is clapping at this, clicking, doing just get into it.
Go Orson!
We're celebrating poetry in all of its forms. Whatever is your.
Let's do whoopee. Let's be whoopee. Ready? Go.
Okay. We're going to do another. That seems appropriate. We're going to do another giveaway now. So you got to put in a 7-word COVID response to COVID, or just 7 to isolation to these times, or to what's happened to time.
Time's
what
gone.
does a day even mean anymore? Take it somewhere. We've read you some already. 7-word responses. So far, we're giving away a copy of Jill Jones' new collection, Solid Air, and we're also going to give away a copy of this book as well.
Wow, what's this book all about, I wonder?
I have no idea.
Look at the cover,
again,
though.
I have so much stock
Look
of
at
this.
that name.
I have so much stock.
Look at that.
I have so much stock. We were going to ask publishers for books, but we're like, we'll go with what we've got here. So yeah, we're going to give away a copy of that as well.
Which is your favourite poem in this book?
The poem in that, I don't know. I'm not going to really focus on that.
One. There must be one that you really...
Shell, right at the end. Okay, so... All we're going to do is write a 7-word response, and Jill Jones, a book by myself, Solid Air. We're going to give away some other things as well. Put it in the comments. Our team will select it. Take it somewhere unusual. Let's hear from another...
Well, I just want to actually make a note that Jen Compton said to put this beret back on, and what Jen does, I do, because Jen is a legend and no one wears a beret better. This is my mum's beret, so it's nice to be wearing it. Love you, Jen Compton. Next up is Prithvi, who is a poet, a literary audio producer, a literary media scholar. He lives in Melbourne. He is an editor for the incredible Cordite Poetry Review. Make sure you check out Cordite if you haven't already. Let's hear from him.
Let's hear from him.
Hi, my name's Prithvi Varatharajan, and I'm speaking to you from Wurundjeri land. I pay my respects to the elders of the Wurundjeri, past and present. And I'm going to be reading a poem for you from my book Entries, published this year, 2020, by Cordite Books. And the poem I'll read is called Inner City Reflection. The light at the pool's bottom reminds me of broken glass on a stairway, its shifting white lines subdued like the glass's sheen when the light's low, when conversation turns to time. It's getting late. The sunlight striking the top of the water sparkles white, like stars, like the glass when the ethereal blue light of the party catches it. There's a cosmos of light down here, shifting in concert with our feelings. They run blue and white and blur in between with dull and glinting aspects. I hug my knees on the stairs. I hug my sides when I slide my arms over my head and back into the water. With my body submerged, with the train going backwards over the top of the pool's muralled wall, I'm in an everywhen of the central business district. It's one that's momentary, that ends when I take my body out of the pool, heaving it off the staircase and back into the air, where it becomes pedestrian. Thanks for listening and watching.
Woohoo! To debut,
Beck!
to debut collection.
Yes, Beck!
To debut collection. Somebody just texted us saying,
People, raise your glasses to Beck Jessen. Come on.
Beck Jessen is next. She hasn't
Oh!
read it. Yeah, you're jumping ahead. But that's great because
Perfect
her
timing.
book is titled, I think it's titled About the Future. So you're preempting the next poet, but
That's me. Always
to anyone with a
preempting.
debut collection, to anyone with a new work, to anybody who's many years between bodies of work.
Oh my gosh. To
you.
you.
Red Room Poetry, we're all practicing poets. We know intimately what it takes to put a collection of poetry together, and the time and that point of release, the object and the point of release into a physical space, and the connection to community, even if it's small, is so meaningful. So we miss you all, even those
I miss you.
Even those we don't miss, we miss.
No, I do.
Annie misses everybody. Red Room is incredibly
Dave,
democratic.
no one. Doesn't miss anyone.
During these times, I mainly miss myself. What I really miss is the fact of live readings. So it's beautiful to join these live streaming spaces. Thanks again to Oranges and Sardines for supporting this initiative and paying poets to read these videos. Read a video.
Read these videos.
Read these videos. It's a new movement.
Is that a Monty Python thing? Or?
No, it's not.
Read these
It's not
videos.
even in that sort of league. But also pay to have their work republished. And thank you to all the publishers who really got it and supported the republication of the work. Share this out. We've been sending it out widely beyond poets. Poets need to share poetry beyond just poets. That's how we really get the work out there, and more than ever, our industry really needs that, rather than just keeping it in a sort of closed space. So please share widely. We are up to our
share poetry
final reading, and then
which is Beck Jesson,
who we have, having been heavily involved with Queensland Poetry and Poetry Festival and the community for many, many years. And
Beck
the
used to
festival
sit
up there
behind us in our desk
at the Queensland Writers' Centre.
Yep.
And we know how hard she fought to get a collection up with UQP after her amazing debut verse novel, The Gap.
Make sure you read The Gap if you haven't already as well.
She's got an incredible Twitter. I think it's called Ask the Oracle, which you can check on Twitter. It spits out Oracle responses.
I didn't know they had that.
Beck was very supportive when we were in Queensland, and it's great to support Beck in return here. This is Beck.
Go Beck!
Hi, I'm filming this on the stolen lands of the Yagara and the Turrbal people. I'll be reading to you today from my latest book, Ask Me About the Future, and the poem I'm reading is called Digging into Eternity. Have we ever been like this? Sitting by the bay window, trains shudder at dusk. I'm not used to this noise or this stillness with you. I'm having a small quiet thought that will self-destruct in 10 seconds. Here, the air is cold enough to make me remember what is good and what I have left. I'm trying to reconcile the grief of gender and how I've become the person who stashes protein bars in their bag and drinks Sauv Blanc at 2 p.m. At the rail underpass, you photograph me next to the other me, but I am larger than myself here, where the stray cats skulk in the succulents and planes fly so low I can taste their metallic underbelly, where we kiss with tea-soaked tongues, and I am still learning the gentle ways to wake you. Your discarded mandarin skins harden in the half-light, their flesh fluorescent. The 503 comes and goes without announcement. Floor sheets are drawn up, your mug dries on the rack. Louver windows no longer refract the smug days of afternoons. And I remember our lives led elsewhere. You check train times, your hand idles between my thighs. You are leaving me with a wedge of half-price brie and flying south to your other lover. We joke this is your East Coast tour. Every time you leave or he arrives, I revert to my imagined self, who knows better than to want. And I am going home again, west, where the architecture is fixed in time. Red brick houses flatten and tessellate in slow motion. We're both looking out windows into dusk and desecration.
I think all our poets so far deserve a very special West Side Story response. So please put your fingers together. How cool these cast of poetry. Yeah, you heard swinging their way through the digital spaces with their new collections. It's great hair. You're here at the digital launch, Red Room Poetry's digital launch of our e-anthology. That's fantastic. Look at that. Strange stuff. in your hands. Get in your hands, in your digital hands
Smells.
through the website. 80 poems by 80 poets whose collections have been affected in some way or events affected by COVID and Pathways and New Poems. Go and read all the poetry. I love the exasperated sigh.
We did it!
How much poetry is too
This
much
is
poetry?
my first one of these.
You've been a
I've
fantastic
never
co-host.
been on one of these things.
We're Annie and David. We're project managers at Red Room Poetry. It's an amazing team. Here's to the whole team. Thank you to the team.
Thank you, team. We
You've
love
been
you.
a brilliant team. Even Orson. Even Kane. Kane
Can
is
everyone
like...
at home do a
is-
Kane?
Amelia, who's been
Show us your
moderating.
canes.
Yeah, we're all citizens and we know who Kane is. There we go. But to the whole team, fantastic. Deep appreciation again to Tamron Bennett, our amazing artistic director.
Amazing
who doesn't
boss.
like the limelight but creates the limelight for others. And Joe Featherstone, founder
Thank
of Red
you,
Room
Joe.
and Oranges and Sardines, who germinated and funded this initiative. There's the formal acknowledgements, I
Yes.
believe. We just have a little sign-off end-tail bit
Do we?
here to say
Oh,
thanks to
thank
all
you.
our contributing poets and publishers.
Woohoo!
Thank you for Billy Blue Creative.
Thank you, Billy Blue.
Thank you to the Australian government. Well, yeah, thank you to the
Thank you.
for the Australian Council of the Arts for supporting Red Room in the ways that it does. I know it's a hard time for everyone in the arts, but yeah, thank you for supporting.
We're so
Red-
grateful, Australia Council. Thank you.
We'd like to say to all the poets right now, go off and read in your hands, read poetry. We'll leave you with everything happening here. You know how launches break down? I think a poetry launch has to break down eventually. This one is starting to break down now.
No.
What
It's not
happens when you
breaking
put everything up at once?
Yeah, let's do everyone. There's
everything.
Tamron.
Oh, there's the book cover.
Where's
we're about to
put
check
Joe up
out.
too.
I think the book covers.
Where's Citizen Kane?
Okay, I'll move that over there. That'll look better if I move.
And put the guy from
The book
is that
cover.
from Pretty in Pink?
If I move that there.
Did you know that I drove Molly Ringwald to a gig once?
Yeah, I remember that. There we go.
Yeah. She was
Okay.
in my backseat.
Thanks so much for coming to Red Room's launch of In Your Hands. Check out the website. Put in your seven word COVID response poems, and we will pick some winners to send out some amazing things. Oh, actually, the last book which we are going to send out, you can win tonight, is this, which is also very recent, and I don't think it got a chance to get launched, is Slam Your Poetry, which is a sort of how-to guide by Miles Merrill, Australian Poetry Slam. So for those into spoken word, that's another one we can send out alongside these amazing ranges of prizes we have.
Berets on, ladies. Berets.
Solid
Let's see your berets.
My book, and where is Jill Jones? And the amazing book, A History of What I'll Become by Jill Jones. Thanks to all the poets. Have a great night. You can watch this recording again if that's where your life is at. Bye.